All right, we're at the world famous TPSS Co-op today. We're going to meet the GM, Mike Houston. We're going to walk through this place. We're going to talk about why it's different from a traditional grocery store. So let's come in and get started. All right, here's my guy over here. Mike, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pleasure to be here. All right, walk us around. I want you to show us why this is different from being at, say, Whole Foods or another grocery store.
Sure. One of the things you can't see or tell walking in is that this grocery store is not owned by one person, not owned by any corporation, but owned by 11,000 different people. We are owned by the community that shops and lives here, which is fantastic, and the co-op difference. Our feature department is really our produce. We carry a lot of local produce this time of year. We have things from Maryland, from Virginia, locally grown, a lot of small farms that we work with. And we also carry a lot of organic produce, so we have relatively high standards, which comes from our members. And they really want to make sure that we are getting the freshest, the healthiest things possible, and come in and support the store. Got our produce manager Mauricio here.
Tell me your story with the co-op.
I've been working here for 18 years, and I'm the produce manager, so I'm in charge of ordering and making those connections with the local farmers and all that sort of stuff.
Take me through a typical day.
Well, I come in, we check, we go through everything to try to take everything that is spoiled out, and then we get our big delivery. And then after we're done, after 2 hours, we start getting ready for the next day, making all the orders and phone calls, any returns and all that stuff. And then after that, I get to reply to all the emails because people are always wanting to come and sell and do business with us, which is great. A lot of local people are always reaching out when they have, especially right now in the summer and in the fall, they want to sell like their very small crops and stuff like that, which is great. And we always support them too.
Do you have a personal favorite item in the store or something that people are really loving these days?
Stone fruit, like anything, peaches, cherries.
Okay, all right.
All, right now it's in season, so it's like perfect timing. We are waiting for the local delivery, which is coming tomorrow, but this is the organic ones. Yeah.
What's it like working with such a passionate produce customer base?
It's great because they're challenging you, like they know what they want, like specifically, so like very educated in food and the local impact and footprint. It teaches me a lot too. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
We'll let you go. Thank you. Let's see one more thing and then we'll sit down and chat more.
Sure. So the other department that we're kind of famous for is our bulk department. So including herbs, we sell over 400 items in bulk. This is a place that people can come in and do low waste, low impact shopping. They can get just the amount that they're looking for. So if they want to try a new recipe, they can come over to these herbs. They can get a very small amount, or if they love it, they can refill their jars. We have liquid bulk like honey and olive oil. And then for other items, they can come in and get exactly what they're looking for. So the idea is to cut down on food waste, to cut down on packaging, make sure that everything people purchase, they're actually going to utilize. A lot of stores are shrinking their bulk section. It takes some effort, it takes some staffing to make sure that it's clean, to make sure that we have to fill up the rolled oats several times a day. They fly, but it's worth it. Our customers, are looking for these kind of things. We have people come, from as far away as Virginia to refill all of their bulk items. People will bring their own containers. I refill my spices here. And so, it's a phenomenal department.
And we should say this is not a big place, right? This is a few thousand square feet.
Yes, we're 4,200 square feet. We do almost $11 million in business. So it is, an awful lot of commerce coming through here.
Is there anything else that we need to cover in the store that you want to point out?
The other thing that's great is, and it's actually being refilled right now, is our grab and go section. So this is full of a ton of different local vendors. We have Ethiopian foods to go. We have Lebanese foods. We have sushi. We have wraps. And the majority of the things in this section are friend sticky fingers from right down the street to Ivy City Seafood. So we have folks, Siona. I'll just sit here naming them all if you give me the opportunity. But it is, it's great local vendors. A lot of them come in and stock the shelves themselves every day. They set the levels of things that are going to sell. And if you come back in here at 9 o'clock at night, all the stuff is wiped out. So people love this section.
All right. Should we go have a seat and chat?
That sounds
Let's
great.
Do it. So Mike, I had a friend who was helping me prep for this interview, and he was saying, I'm on the fence about a membership at that place, actually. So this is the perfect opportunity to ask you, tell him why he should be a member.
Yeah. No, we can do some selling here. So yeah, there's a lot of value as a membership. The most obvious membership benefit is the 10% discount you get every month. If you just want to think about a membership in economic benefits, it pays for itself pretty quickly. Joining the co-op is $100, and that is your lifetime membership. There's no annual fee, there's no increase, there's no paying more later. And that money, the way co-ops work, that's basically working capital for the store. So if you ever leave the co-op, you actually get that $100 back. So if you really think about it that way, it is a tremendous investment to pay that membership one time and then to get the benefit of the ongoing discount every month. But there's really a lot more to being a co-op member. You get a say in how the store is governed. So when you typically walk into a grocery store, do you have any kind of say of what they have on the shelves, what the product standards are, who the person that is in charge of the day-to-day of the store is? I assume not. And so, as a co-op member, you vote for the board of directors that is legally responsible for the store and in charge of the policies that dictate how we operate.
Can I come in and shop anytime and get that discount? Is there a limited days I can take advantage of it?
Yep. No, it's so everyone who's a member gets a 10% discount every single month. They can use that on any shop. Today's the last day of the month. We will have a lot of people coming in that forgot to use it on the 1st to the 29th, and that will be utilizing that discount today. But any shop, whatever your biggest shop of the month is when people typically utilize that.
Okay, got it. What are some of the things that we've talked about, some of them as we walked around? What are some of the things that you can do that traditional grocery stores can't, that maybe play to some of the values of people around here in Takoma Park?
Yeah, I mean, we're able to be a lot more nimble. During COVID, we were actually the first grocery store in the country to shut our storefront and go online only. We did that in March of 2020, and we operated as an online only store for a full 3 months early in COVID. So, there is a lot that we can do. We're a single location. We're looking to grow, but, we're a single location. We are, a small staff of 43 that serves those 11,000 members. And so we are able to pivot more quickly when there's supply chain disruptions, which not only happened during COVID, but happened because of geopolitical events, happened because of climate change. We have a differentiated supply chain through we buy from over 200 different local vendors. And so, we can get local chicken when the price on the national brands, is just astronomical. We can keep our eggs low when other people, are raising their egg prices because, the farms that they buy from, are infected by avian flu and those kind of things. So having that shorter and local supply chain is really key to being an independent grocery store these days.
When you say 11,000 members, I think of like the gyms that sell gym memberships. But if everyone from the gym came at the same time,
sure.
There'd be a line through the whole city. Do you think about that with this place of like, do you have to control the membership? Obviously, non-members can shop here as well. Are there times when it's just too many people for this place, or it's kind of, there's a data science to it all where the traffic patterns?
We're certainly busy. We're definitely busy on the weekends. Friday, Saturday, Sunday are our busiest sales days, especially Sunday. People can come in, people can shop. A lot of people find it, very fun to run into people that they know in the co-op. I can't do a lap in the store without running into someone that I know. We are looking to grow. Again, we do a lot of sales out of a relatively small footprint. We did a big, full remodel of the store in 2024 in order to, set this store up we've been open for 45 years. We've been in this location since 1998. We have set this location up for the future, and now we're looking to grow because we have so many people both shopping here and continuing to join the co-op and wanting to shop here. So, we need more space, frankly.
I still do the math counting back from 2000. So when I think of 1991, I think of 9 years ago, but that's actually 40 plus
right, yeah, exactly.
years ago. So let's talk about before that renovation happened. What was the state of this building? Did it look roughly the same footprint, or like what was going on with deferred maintenance and things that had to get handled at that point?
Yeah. So my understanding is this building actually used to be a Safeway back in the day, but it's certainly not laid out like a traditional grocery store. We don't have a professional loading dock. It is, an odd pattern, so it's not quite the building that you would pick for a grocery store. We started on a small storefront on Sligo Avenue, outgrew that space and moved into this space in 1998, which was, right for our sales trajectory at that time. And so in the course of, from 1998 until 2024, to your point, we did have a lot of deferred maintenance. When we started looking at this remodel project, originally we were just going to redo the freezers and fridges. Our freezers were, literally limping to the finish line of that project. But then, we wanted to put the registers in a new place. If we were going to move the registers, we might as well put in new shelving. If we were going to pull all the shelving up, we might as well redo the floor, which anyone who used to shop in the Co-op pre-remodel remembers the floor was always a fun house experiment of whether your cart was going to dive bomb away from you. And so one thing led to another. And so we wound up doing a full 18-week, gut remodel of the store. So it's not just the sales floor, but we redid the electrical, we redid the HVAC system, we redid the plumbing and everything again, so that we ripped out years and years worth of old wiring and things that have been put in over time and just started everything fresh.
And I understand that you stayed open during that time. I tell me about the decision of what went into that, and then operationally how you pulled that off. And that built a lot of goodwill, I guess. Maybe coming out of COVID, that you kind of had built up that instinct and that muscle of being able to figure things out on the fly, like crazy curveballs. But tell me about that whole experience.
Yeah, and that's funny because the story of that remodel project does actually tie back to COVID. So we were able to stay up. We had to be out of the building entirely during that 18-week project over 4 months. And we did that by setting up a pop-up grocery store in a 30 by 30 wedding tent in our parking lot. That wedding tent we bought during COVID when we were closed and online only, so that people would be able to come in and pick up online orders in all weather. But that little 30 by 30 tent has now, twice serviced, saved our business. We set up a full service grocery store in there. We had produce. It was an all weather tent. It was air conditioned. The project kicked off on July 4th, 2024. And so we also rented a 8 by 20 refrigerated unit. So like people could actually walk into the fridge. So we still had dairy. We still had refrigerated produce.
So this wasn't just like a picnic table that had some produce. This was a whole deal.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we were doing 30% of our sales volume, which, we knew we weren't going to be able to do our typical sales volume, but we were at least able to keep serving our members, keep paying our staff, which I'll come back to, and being open for the community. There's a lot of people that, again, come to this store several times a week that can walk here. And one of the things that I didn't expect when we set up that project, but that was kind of an interesting thing to see, is we do SNAP double up. So if you're a SNAP recipient and you come in and pay for fresh produce, you get 50% off. And so we were doing 30% of our typical sales volume, but we were doing almost a normal percentage of that SNAP double up. So, again, our decision, it was very difficult. I had like 5 weather apps on my phone. Every time it rains, your skin crawls. I certainly don't recommend setting up a grocery store in a tent, but the outcomes that we got, both, getting through the project, being able to keep all of our staff members on, not cutting anyone's hours, not laying anyone off, was really important to us as we designed that project.
Okay, so you set up this tent in the parking lot, and then there's a grand reopening. You said 18 weeks, which doesn't sound bad at all. I think anyone that's done residential rehabs, things can stretch on and on. So that doesn't sound bad at all. And then, is it a nervy moment when you reopen? Is there a lot of excitement? What was the reaction from the community and the customer base?
Yeah, I mean, we had the paper over the windows. And so, once that started to come down and people could get a look inside and start seeing the new flooring go in and see the refrigerators be installed, again, since people were still coming to the site to shop at the tent, the excitement, built organically, if you will, as we got closer and closer to that November reopening date. So we reopened in early November. We had a band. We had this was my idea, but we had a ribbon cutting where instead of a traditional ribbon, we made a ribbon out of kale and we cut that. So that was super fun. So, it was a joyous day for everyone that had their community grocery store. They couldn't go into the building for over 4 months. And so just being able to come back in, being able to see, again, it's a totally new layout. Everything looked totally different. The produce looks beautiful. So, that first day, that first week of welcoming everyone back into the building was just phenomenal.
I think there's something too about their membership dollars, at least some of them going toward that project, right? I mean,
Sure.
a real sense of ownership.
Yeah, I mean, this is something, that gets talked about a lot in the co-op world and the grocery world these days. There's a lot of talk about price gouging in retail, those banana prices, those egg prices, those coffee prices. How much of that is real cost inputs? How much is that is the retailer sort of being advantageous about when they can, turn the margin up a little bit? And so co-ops, the incentive structure is not there to gouge members. Basically, if the co-op makes profit, it is either reinvested in the co-op or it's returned to the members through patronage. So co-ops don't have an incentive structure where it makes any sense to gouge their members, because those dollars are going right back, being reinvested in the store, or going right back into those members' pockets at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, so you've got this reopened, beautiful store. What are the future plans? I understand there's some exciting projects in the works.
Yeah. So again, we've always known that based on the sales that we're doing out of this footprint and having all of our eggs in this one 4,200 square foot basket, that we need to expand over time. We're not going to be able to continue to grow, and especially to continue to outpace growth and expenses, in this footprint. And so we've been planning since 2022, when we started doing market studies on looking for a second location. We don't have any ability to grow in this space, but again, we just reinvested in this store. We're not going anywhere, but we are now looking seriously for a second location. And so that's, been a really exciting project to learn about, to bring the membership along in, and kind of, keep them abreast of the different stages in that project, which I'm happy to talk about.
Okay. Are we at the point where we're looking at actual sites and potentially evaluating them? Are we bringing them to the members? Are you just privy to that? Where are we at?
Sure.
Where are we looking?
Yes. And I do, for anyone that's curious about this, our member meetings, our board meetings are public. So we do board meetings once a month, the third Thursday of the month, across the street at historic Takoma. So people can literally come and watch how the sausage is made, just the same as they do for city council meetings. But where we are in the process, we are not yet at site selection. We obviously spent a lot of our money on the remodel. And so the first place that co-ops traditionally go when they're looking to take on a big project like this is borrowing money from the membership. So the next step in, now that we've gone through all the feasibility, the financial feasibility, gotten financial modeling, market feasibility, done all that feasibility work over the last year and a half, we are now ready to start raising money from the membership. So we're going to have what's called a member investment campaign, where members have the opportunity to invest in the store. They buy shares in the co-op, and those shares, which will be purchased back at a later date, are interest bearing. So it is certainly an investment in growing this co-op and growing the cooperative movement broadly, but it is also a literal investment vehicle rather than just a donation.
It's almost like a municipal bond or something like
Exactly.
that. What's the farthest that you would go away from here for the second location?
Yeah, so right now we're looking in a 4-mile radius around the store, and there's a couple reasons for that, but basically that's Northwest DC, Silver Spring, Wheaton, College Park, Hyattsville, University Park. We are looking in that radius because we still, even after the remodel, don't have any kind of warehousing space at this location. So we're looking for a larger location that would also have more back of house space. Right now there's deals that we can't buy up on some deals. We can't get pallet drops and some of these kind of things. So being able to increase our purchasing volume, both from having 2 stores and from having additional products on hand that can service both stores, would help to have that second location relatively nearby. Our core trade area is about 1.5 miles, so it's pretty tight to the current store. And then we have some members that no matter where we go in that radius, that will live closer to the new store and would likely move their shopping from the current store to the new store. So that gives the new store the beginning of that new customer base, which is important, but also gives this current location a little more room to breathe and a little more room to grow.
Okay. And what do you think would happen to the staff headcount at when you open the new one? Hard to say, obviously, but does the staff go up by 50%? Do you double your staff?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking for a footprint that is significantly larger than the current store. So yes, I mean, we would certainly grow the staff by a lot, but we don't know exactly what we're going to find once we start going out to site selection. So on paper right now, we're looking for something larger, but in this market, a big part of raising funds, raising part of the project budget on the front end, is because this is a very competitive real estate market. And, when we find locations that, are going to be suitable for us, we got to be ready to go.
Maybe you can buy the Estrellitas Montessori daycare, which I saw is for sale for 12 mil.
And so that's a great example. We do, with 11,000 members, we, I get suggestions all the time, which is fantastic. Keep it up. Keep sending them to me. We have a commercial real estate broker that we're working with. So, we do have professional help, but it's also one of those places where we can leverage the membership.
Well, it's a relationship business, right?
Exactly.
At the end of the day. I mean, the numbers need to make sense, but I feel like it's a really relationship driven business.
Sure. Yeah.
Real estate.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about the team that works here? Like, what can you say about the people that work here? Are certain types of people drawn to this work, and what team culture existed before you came? And then what do you try to drive every day as you work with the team?
Yeah. So I've been here for about 8 years and I still feel like the new guy. We have a ton of longevity. So, for a retail grocery store, across our 43 current employees, we average over 9 years of service. We have an employee who's been here for over 35 years. We talked to Mauricio earlier, who's, been with us for over 14 years, our store manager, Hussein, our assistant store manager, Mercy. So we have so many people. It is unusual in retail grocery to have the kind of longevity that we have. We are a union shop. We have a great relationship. Our staff is represented by the IWW union. We just finished our 3rd union contract. That was one of the first things that I did walking in the door. Was the union drive among the staff had started the summer before I got here. And so getting that first union contract signed. And again, now we've had 2 subsequent ones. So, I think the staff is fantastic. The people that come in and shop here, they know the cashiers by name. The cashiers know them. The cashiers know their kids. The cashiers know their grandkids. And so being able to come in and see the same people over time, to have people be able to be promoted internally into different positions, is just part of the culture that keeps people, working here.
Cool. A couple quick fun things, and then I want to ask about you and your journey a little bit and close there. The mural that's on the I think that's a really important part of the identity of the store, probably. Yeah. What's the story behind that?
Yeah, I don't know exactly when it was painted, but it is, we don't have a lot of branding on the outside of the store. Sometimes I joke that mural is one of the only things that tells you what's going on in this brick building. We're at a busy intersections, a lot of people driving past, walking past, but it really is, it's iconic, and it is a huge part of, I just love when we have events in the parking lot. We just had a great event for Pride a couple weeks back, and just seeing all these people gathering and that mural in the background I really love it.
Let's talk about the parking lot. I feel like there's a lot of mythology around that parking lot. Oh, it's free parking. You just park there. You can go anywhere. Now I see there's some park mobile signs. What's going on there? What's the history? It feels like it's a scarce resource around here, but you do have 2 large parking lots for a small store. And what's the deal? If I live in this neighborhood and I'm going to Cielo Rojo or I'm getting my oil changed.
Sure.
Can I park there?
Yes. So on one side of the store, on the Sycamore side of the store, is a small parking lot that entirely belongs to the co-op. That is for co-op for people who are shopping at the co-op. On the other side is a lot that's owned by the city. The city manages that. So there is paid parking. It's only $1 an hour, and people can only park for a maximum of 2 hours. So basically that lot services all of the businesses. And again, there's some phenomenal businesses around here, SoCo across the street, and our friend Spring Mill, and Historic Tacoma, and Cielo Rojo. So that lot is a paid parking lot, but it services the entire junction.
Okay, gotcha. So you've been talking enthusiastically about the project, the renovation, COVID. I'm sure that was a nightmare. We don't have to go into that. The opening of the second location. I think that it's probably a double-edged sword. You don't need to say that, but I'll say that for you. To have such an engaged membership, you must have a lot of people pulling in different directions, right? Not everyone's going to have the same opinion about where to go. How do you manage all that, and your inbox kind of getting flooded with a lot of helpful suggestions, I'm sure, but then a lot of people with different ideas? And what are the mechanisms to arrive at some kind of consensus, and then ultimately who has the say in decisions about, we're going to do the renovation this way, we're going to go with this contractor, we're going to pick this location? How do you manage that?
I mean, to kind of speak to your double-edged sword point, one of the art edges is significantly sharper. We're part of a group called the National Co-op Grocers. It is basically 170 of the largest food co-ops in the country. And knowing other general managers, knowing the context of those stores, we are incredibly privileged to have such an engaged membership base, to have people that are just the baseline starting point of people coming in and shopping at the store and making us financially successful so that we can grow is not the context for every one of those co-ops. Our engaged membership base, people running for the board, people voting in board elections. We have an election going on right now to update our articles of incorporation. That's part of the second store expansion project. And so having people that engage with the store in that way, that care enough about their community grocery store to email the GM with their suggestions is not a problem, but is a great problem to have if you want to look at it that way.
Mm-hmm. What about you? What drew you to this type of work? How'd you wind up here?
So total accidental career in grocery. I moved to Brooklyn with some buddies after college, literally just needed a job and had a friend that worked at a little natural food store in downtown Brooklyn, literally started as a cashier, $9 an hour, but just loved it. Reminds me a lot of this store, honestly. So started moving up, did the frozen buying, did the grocery buying, up into management, left there. And I grew up in Arlington, so this area is home for me, but moved to DC in 2012 and helped to open Dawson's Market, which was an independent natural food store in Rockville Town Square. Again, learned a ton about opening a new store, about growing, about the natural food industry in this area, made connections with local farmers, got deep into the local food scene. I love, the natural foods world, the organic foods world, really comports with my personal value. And then coming to the co-op world, I have said this several times, and I guess now I'll say it on a podcast, but going from the independent natural food stores to co-ops is like, I'm never going back. Co-ops, I have just been fully pulled into the co-op world and I love it. It is an alternative economic model. I think co-ops answer a lot of the questions that people have right now about the economy, about the corporate world. And so again, I really, some people have jobs where they feel like at the end of the week, they need to volunteer for a nonprofit to kind of feel good. Like I get to do those kind of things in my work. I get to feel really good about the impact that I make. And that's really what's kept me in the industry.
What's going on out there in the greater grocery, let's just say the non-co-op world? Like, it's a big question, but I guess if you could summarize it in 60 seconds, like for people who don't know, what are the trends? Is there a lot of consolidation happening? Is there dynamic pricing going on?
Yep.
When you say a lot of questions are being answered by the co-op model, what are those questions that people have about shopping at some other grocery stores?
Right. So consolidation in the industry is huge. There is consolidation at the retail level. There's consolidation at the product level, individual products being more successful and then being bought up by bigger brands. There's consolidation at the wholesale level. So it is, there's a lot of things that are anti-consumer in nature. Again, people, there's price fixing, there's all kinds of things that you need a strong independent grocery market to keep the giant chains honest. And so, I think co-ops are a big answer to that. In the natural foods world, Whole Foods is the number one purchaser and the co-ops collectively are number two. So people don't realize it. We all operate independently, but we have a lot of sway within the natural foods world. Not as much on the conventional side, but there are more co-ops that are opening.
As a unit, all of them combined are kind of this number two player.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's certainly one thing. You mentioned dynamic pricing. So there are more and more people doing grocery shopping online. That's something, that COVID accelerated and that grocers have had to adapt to. We have an online shopping system. We also have a case ordering system where people can, since we're a small footprint store, our online shop called Provisions, people can shop for anything that we can buy through our wholesaler. So it's not just what's on the shelves here, but there's a huge, tens of thousands thousands of products available through that. But yes, dynamic pricing. I actually testified on a bill that passed in the state of Maryland to ban dynamic pricing because, when you look into it, it is so anti-consumer to have. I literally participated in the Consumer Reports investigation where they had hundreds of people shopping at the exact same time and saw with my own two eyes people, logged into the exact same store at the same time getting charged different prices. And it's just not right. And people don't know enough about that. And our new digital world offers, again, businesses that have an incentive structure to try and maximize their what's called surplus value.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a bulwark against that, and being inside of the business community and being able to advocate for, hey, we don't want this, is important.
Let's close out with some maybe rapid fire-ish questions for you.
I'm physically incapable of giving short answers, but I will try.
Do you live in Takoma Park? Do you live in DC? Do you live in a surrounding area?
Yeah, I live in Woodley Park. It's actually the same place I've lived when I used to work in Rockville. Now I'm just taking the metro in the opposite direction.
Yeah. I used to live down there in Abs Morgan across the bridge.
Yeah.
So what around here, let's say you come to work here, what's a perfect day or evening or afternoon after work here for you?
Big fan of Kinda, so I will go over there and get lunch, get dinner. They have a spicy basil fried rice that I just adore. I think is perfect. Where else? The Takoma Bevco. My wife and I'll go over there and get drinks occasionally. There's some great places around here.
Who would you talk to next if you were me? What's a business that you think would have a great story to tell?
So Laura Barclay, who runs the Old Tacoma Business Association, has been around in the area forever. She has seen the Junction grow. She has seen Old Town grow. I think, 4th Street. It is a very interesting area, and I think she does a tremendous job, and probably a job that not a lot of people know or understand in advocating for and keeping the local business community thriving here.
You're not the first person who said that to me, so shout out to her. If people want to find out more about the store, obviously they can walk right in, but where should they go?
Yep. TPSS.co-op. We have a specific page for the expansion. That's TPSS.coop/expansion.
And email Mike all your ideas.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.